That should be it. We should be magically appearing all across the internet.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. I think we're live.
We have lovely fans, who really appreciate our work, and I love them. But they got really upset yesterday when we didn't show up.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Oh, I can hear you. Oh.
I'm gonna go out and come back in again. I'll press the other thing. Hang on a second.
Okay.
I'll be right.
All right. Well, I'll just talk to you, everybody. We have your amazing fans. We love you all. You're amazing people. But you get really upset when we're not there, and we appreciate that because if you're not there, it's just not the same for us either. So we appreciate you being here and love you, in fact, a lot that you're here. We love that Dean's here. Dean's here. Can you hear us, Dean?
Totally. Yeah, I'm back,
amazing.
baby. I'm back.
So we have great fans. We do, and we really appreciate everybody.
You know what's really funny is I love watching people get bitchy that we don't start at 3:00. And listen, I get it. I totally get it. And we're here for you. But there's two things about when you're like, are you coming today? Like, I'll get it on Blue Sky, even though I'm never there. Like, I don't know who's on Blue Sky, not me. I'm there. I've got tens of thousands of followers, but I don't do anything. It's just people just keep uploading our stuff to Blue Sky.
Yeah.
So I'll get a memo from Blue Sky. I'll get a bunch of notes on Twitter. Hey, are you coming? Are you showing up? Are you coming today? It's like 2 minutes after 3.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I love these people so much. Not only do I not take offense to it, it's like a badge of honor if we're a little bit late and people are getting a little squirrely because they need their fix of info.
Yeah.
They need an info fix, they need a little affirmation, they need a little information. And we love giving that to you. So I'm humbly sorry. It is my fault. I didn't accept the invite in time. And then we fucked it up. I fucked it up. And then, it's just this is a cavalcade of things. So I'm sorry. We're here. I love you. Welcome to the FiveStack.
I think people under the mistaken impression that we have like large teams. Someone said to me, will you ask a team to look into this thing that they asked me to do? You please ask your staff to do the stuff. There's no staff.
I wish.
There's no staff. There's just me and Dean. And in my case, just me. I don't know if you have any staff, but
No, I got no staff. There's my staff. Hang on, I'll just show. There she is, a little dog, Pepper.
Hello.
That's my staff. She is like my emotional support. She's human resources. My parents were the studio audience yesterday. That was kind of nice. But literally, we have no staff. Yeah, wasn't it nice? They're so cool.
They're good peeps.
And they're gone today, so I can pay full attention. I don't feel bad yesterday. I felt guilty. They're sitting there drinking tea going, our son's on a television program.
They must have been so proud of you. They must have just been so proud of you. It's so exciting for them to see you.
They're huge Zev Shalev fans.
Oh, are they? Oh, hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Big Zev Shalev people. They love Lev Parnas. Love Steve Schmidt. My mom's got an unhealthy association with Steve, unhealthy obsession
it's
with
understandable.
Steve.
Steve is very, very easy to be interested in.
He's got that animal magnetism, yeah.
He is one of the best orators of all time. I will say that. I think that. I actually believe he's really very, very skilled at that.
This is the thing about Substack, too. And I'll bring this up, and then we can get to the FiveStack, 5 biggest stories of the day. That's what we try to run down here. We got some doozies for you, including Trump. He's unwell, by the way. Got a great Truth Social post to read you guys.
He's well.
Oh, dude, the last one was crazy. But, the thing about Substack is you have to have some chops to be here.
Yeah.
On Twitter, you just have to be breathing.
Yeah.
Same with Facebook, same with any one of these social Meta, Instagram. You just have to have a pulse.
Yeah.
If you're going to survive here, if you're going to thrive on Substack, you're in and amongst some of the smartest fucking people on the planet.
Yeah, it's a tough crowd. It's tough. So, discerning audience as well.
Yeah, huge. So anytime, now that I've come from that Twitter kind of YouTube, website world where you're like, okay, I'll take all my socials and I'll drive people to this thing and then I'll come in. It doesn't happen. That never works. It's all gamed. It's all fixed. It's a joke. Here on Substack, they reward people for connecting with other people, but they reward people for smart content, stuff that's truthful, right? Yes, there are silos, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we are surrounded, whether it's you, me, Lev, Cohen, Schmidt, Paul Mary, Perro, Harbaugh, Ellie Leonard. I mean, just surrounded by incredibly bright people. So thank you for being here. We're going to try and make sure that we don't fuck it up today. But more importantly, we are here because you're here. You're just as smart as us. In fact, probably much smarter than me. I don't know if you're smarter than Zev. He's really smart.
No, no,
But
no, no. You're the smarter
you're
one.
pretty
I
smart.
think you're the
Like,
smarter
well,
one.
I don't think so.
I do. But that's
Well,
just
maybe it's probably a good chance, actually.
I mean, that's what I think. I think.
Anyway, but my point is that like that's the beautiful part of this program. That's the beautiful part of Substack. We're just surrounded by smart people, and if you can make a go of it here, you can literally make a go of it anywhere. This is a global marketplace for smart, individually sort of motivated people and brands that want to connect with other people and brands. But what's rewarded here is the truth, which is what I fucking love about Substack.
Yeah, and real journalism, which is a rare thing. Speaking
Mhm.
of real journalism, we should get into the top five. There are five happening today, in no particular order. Well, there is a particular order. At five, a Democrat has won Miami's mayoral race for the first time since 1997, and the margin wasn't even close. Eileen Higgins crushed backed Republican Emilio Gonzalez with nearly 60% of the vote in a county at least. Trump won by 12 points just last year. She also is the first woman ever elected mayor of Miami, ending 3 decades of Republican control in one of the country's most important battleground cities. It's a big deal. This is making, according to their partners,
Huge.
Republicans panic, as they should be.
Oh my God. It is huge. I don't know if you saw, I think his name is Giesler, but I call him Gisler for obvious reasons. In Georgia, turned a state seat, lost in November by 22 points, won in a special election in Georgia by something like 19 points. And then the real canary in the coal mine, as far as how does MAGA feel about their chances in the midterms in 2026, that's this Miami mayor's race with Elaine Higgins.
Mhm.
For 30 years, Republicans, and keep in mind, the last mayor of Miami won by 69%. 69% of the vote
Yeah.
went to the gentleman from the GOP, a Trump DeSantis blessed mayoral candidate.
Mhm.
That was 4 or 5 years ago. She won by an enormous margin. It had nothing to do with who else was running, Mr. Gonzalez. Probably a really qualified candidate, Emilio Gonzalez. He ran the Miami airport. He is an institutional guy. He was endorsed by Trump. And that is when, this is about 4 weeks ago, and that is when the mayor's campaign started fucking going into the toilet. And that's when Elaine Higgins started to just talk about affordability and the things that people give a shit about, which has been a revelation to the Democratic Party. And it's something that Donald Trump yesterday called a hoax again for the second time at a P-Meal, Pennsylvania shitty little rally he's trying to do to convince everybody he's not unwell. He's very unwell. We'll get to that. Don't worry. And the same thing. But the fact that Miami, Trump country, DeSantis country,
I mean,
elected by a massive margin a soccer grandma to take care of the people of Miami
mhm.
is such a fucking not just indictment, but it is the sign of a pattern and things to come, because it doesn't matter if it's federal, at the state level, at the municipal level. People fucking hate Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, this is Trump country. It's an
Mm.
understatement to even say that because, right, the everybody in Trump country is so dedicated to him. He has all the money. He has the Russian base there. He has the Latin base there. He's got a huge support amongst the let's call them organized criminal elements that run that city, and yet still, a Democrat was elected in Miami, and that does not augur well for Florida. It doesn't augur well for anywhere in the country where Democrats have been losing in the last few years because there is an uprising coming against this president that is for sure being felt inside the White House. They are sending him out now on a number of public events, rallies. This guy's barely walking, and there are however they were doing it, they're getting him out in front of rallies, in front of people, because they realize that there is a crisis, a huge crisis, and that it doesn't even look good in any of the districts coming up in for re-election in this coming year. 20 or so Republicans are about to resign from the House. That is not a kind of a way you want to enter an election cycle. But the election cycle is on, I believe, and Democrats are beginning to audition real leaders, the ones that they would normally be auditioning for for a presidential campaign, they're auditioning them on TV every single night. I don't know if you've noted people like Shapiro, Bashir, all these other guys are beginning to do this
Mark
news round.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are they doing it? Because they're being auditioned in front of you, America, to see if any of them resonate in a way that can, perhaps take over as president as early as 2017, I believe. That's what their real.
We're going to go back in time to 2017. Is that what we're doing?
I'm sorry. 27. This is what happens when I stay up
2027.
really, 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 I can barely keep my eyes straight. I was writing The Greatest Heights last night, and it was just like at 5 a.m. in the morning. I finally pushed send in it, so I'm a little slow.
Hell of a piece. Yeah, hell of a piece. We'll get to it coming up in just a minute because it's seminal reading, and I mean that every time I say it. And I read it this afternoon, and I was shocked by the level of detail that you had about Jess Staley, Jeffrey Epstein, how that whole thing works, why it worked, et cetera, et cetera. But back to our original conversation. This is D-Day. A day like today is just another D-Day, and Trump has had several D-Days. And yesterday he went to Pennsylvania. And the reason, as you point out, that he went to Pennsylvania is because he is they are trotting him out to try and convince everybody he is A, still accessible, B, not unwell.
Yeah.
And C, still good for America. And he's lost the MAGA base. So the consolidation process is part of these rallies. Not sure if you have
a couple of clips. One second here. I'm going to just, you keep saying something, and I'm sorry. This is, it's becoming.
No, take your time. Take your time. We just want to
figure all these things out.
We want to show people. We want to show people this gentleman, because this is what people are running away from. This is what resigning GOP members who are leaving their seat for Congress to run for the Senate, or just leaving Congress or the Senate altogether. And those numbers are actually fairly decently equal. You've got, I think it's 13 Democrats that aren't running. You got 19 plus 4 plus another 10 on the Republican side. So you've got like 50% more of people who are just sick of the game, sick of the bullshit, like Marjorie Taylor Greene. But there is going to be an exodus for the exits, specifically when it comes to the GOP, creatively by a lot of Senate and House members, because what they want is their pension. They want to be able to spin this into a new job, like Troy Nehls wants to do, like Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to do, like Nancy Mace wants to do. None of these people want to give up the trappings of what they have, but they need to cut bait with Donald Trump, who was in fine dementia form last night, and he took extreme personal extreme personal offense to how people reacted to how fucked up he is emotionally, mentally, and physically. And it was on display last night in Pennsylvania at this rally where they're like, we got to catch that Trump rally magic again. He's like, okay.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, watch.
And we had a meeting, and I say, why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right? Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Let us have a few. From Denmark, do you mind sending us a few people?
What do you think? Will Denmark send them some people? No,
not anymore.
Yeah,
not anymore. Denmark. That's 10 years old.
Yeah.
That's 10 years old.
Yeah.
That's when he was like, we're not getting any like white Scandinavians into, we just get all these black people and brown people and yellow people and this color people and that color people from these shithole countries, which, by the way, they spent 4 years trying to pretend like that he never called those African countries shithole countries. He went on to demean Somalia and all, black countries in Africa and stuff. He's just a fucking racist. It's just a pure, unadulterated racist prick. Yeah. But the interesting part of that is that Denmark today, I don't know if you know this, I did an entire podcast, Substack Live. You can go and watch it, Intel Briefing. I do it with former Danish intelligence officer Jacob Karsbo. We've had him on the show several times. He's a former UN Security Council member. Denmark labeled Donald Trump's America as a threat to the national security of the Danish people today.
Really?
And he's standing up there going, and by the way, sounds and looks like shit.
Yeah, he looks
terrible.
Like,
he looks terrible. God, he is awful. He is so sick, and I'll get to that in just a second. He stood there and was like, why can't we have more people from Denmark? Well, Denmark just labeled him effectively a threat to every citizen in the country of fucking Denmark. And not only did they do that with the blessing of the EU and the coalition of the willing, France is next, UK's next, and guess who the next person will be? Guess who the next country will be through that door of, hey,
Canada?
by the way, yes, sir.
I would
Yes,
say,
sir.
likely.
And then Spain, then Australia. You're going to see a glut of announcements where EU countries, democratic countries, former allies of the United States of America are going to take a mirror and they're going to shine it right back on the United States of America and say, hey, guys, here's what we see. According to all of our intelligence efforts, here's why we see it. Your president is a threat to your national security, and we don't want any of you in our country as long as he's the president of the United States. That's happening. That's happening right now.
Terrifying, really, when you think about it. When you think about all these alliances breaking up like this, when you look at these friends of America turning their back on America because of this giant buffoon who's tanking the country. I mean, I'm surprised they even got a crowd to show up there last night. Maybe it wasn't.
Dude, it was in a wedding hall.
Yeah.
400 people were in the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, no one likes this guy. Nobody's. Should we play this other clip? There's another one here about pencils and dolls. Yeah.
Yeah. If you wondered how his so he likes this thing called the weave. Right after he told people he was going to talk about tariffs, and then decided to start talking about the weave. This was his next statement. I want you to watch this, and then we're going to talk about his mental wellness because he put out a tweet as soon as he left, or a Truth Social post, which I'm going to read you, which is very, very damning according to his state of physical duress. So let's watch this clip together.
National security. We need the one thing you need steel. You know, you can give up certain products. You can give up pencils.
Pencils.
That's under the China policy. You know, every child can get 37 pencils. They only need one or two. You know, they don't need that many. But you always need steel. You don't need $37 for your daughter. 2 or 3 is nice, but you don't need $37. Got national security. We need the one thing you need steel. You know, you can give up certain products. You can give up pencils.
That's how I'm doing it again. He's crazy, obviously. This is not a, you know, this old shit, though. He's repeating the same shit that he used to do a few years ago. This is not even new material.
You ever have a family member with dementia?
I have had a family member with dementia, yes.
Me too.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they would reach back into the archives of whatever was left? They'd be like pencils, dolls, diapers.
That's really what's going on. I mean, it might be. It seems like it. It seems so ridiculously weird that he's going back to something that is like, you know, it's nice to see the classic hits again, but really, they're classic hits. You know, I know we're skipping ahead to the one story here a little bit about.
Well, he doesn't have anything, dude.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He doesn't have anything. Like you talk about classic hits. These aren't classic hits. This is all he's got. Now, he can't freely formulate a thought. He can't. You
said yesterday Alzheimer's. Right? Now you're saying dementia. Now there's this other thing out there that people are saying that it's neither of those things. It's actually something called frontotemporal dementia. No, is that right? That's it. So that's dementia.
Yeah, frontal temporal dementia. It is all. They're all in the same category. You know, whether you call it Alzheimer's, whether you call it dementia, frontal temporal dementia, it is all the same.
Confabulation
same thing. Now,
the thing. Confabulation. Have you
heard and disinhibition, confabulation, low energy, not being leaning forward is a big deal.
Yes, and he does that all the time. He leans forward really weirdly. We've all seen the photos. He keeps remembering things that are really like. And the thing that this guy who posted the story on Frank George, PhD, who reported this on one of the Substacks here, he's saying one of the key things is not only do they, you know, typically with Alzheimer's, people don't remember. They know they don't remember. But with people with FTD, they have no awareness that they don't remember. And on top of that, they believe that any invented story is true. So when he's out there telling lies to everybody, he actually thinks he is the king. He actually thinks he is all these things that he says he is, which is not true.
So my grandmother's 92.
Yeah.
Almost 93. Beautiful woman. And super smart, painter, artistic, and she's in really good health even though she's 92. So I go out and see her about a month ago because I'm a nice grandson and I love her to death. She's the sweetest little button on the planet. And we go there and I'm like, hey, how you doing? She's like, the people came in here to get me last night. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah. They came to get me, and I went with them, and then I hung out with them, and then I came back, and 2 people brought me here, and they took all my things. I'm like, what did they take? She's like, my cell phone. And I'm like, that one right there? She's like, oh, they must have returned it. She believed it. None of it's true. None of it's real. And every time I watch Donald Trump recount a story, every time I see him repeat himself, I'm reminded of my grandmother. I'm also reminded of the sensitivity because they know. Donald Trump knows he is unwell because he has a dementia diagnosis. We've talked about it here.
Right.
And he's so afraid it's going to come out that he put a tweet out, a Truth Social post. I'm going to read it to you, and I need you to kind of bear with me. I know we're 30 minutes in. We might have covered 2 stories already, possibly 3.
This is number 1, but we'll move it up because it's good. It's a good story, and people need to know exactly what's going on here. They might have a hard
incredible.
time with this, but here's this.
So if you have it, you can put it up. There you go. I'll read it to you. He puts this out as he's leaving, knowing he has failed miserably to convince the rest of the free world that he is not unwell because his rally was basically a support group for one dude that has dementia and a bunch of people that don't want to believe it. So let me read this to you. Yeah. There has never been a president that has worked as hard as me! Exclamation point. My hours are the longest. He starts at 12:08 p.m. according to White House staff, and ends at around 1 o'clock in the morning, and then we'll get up intermittently at night and sleep and tweet. My results are among the best. I've stopped 8 wars. That's an absolute fucking lie. Saving many millions of lives in the process. Another lie. He's cost millions of lives, specifically in the Gaza, Israel, Ukraine, Russia region. Created the greatest economy in the history of our country. The United States is on the verge of economic collapse. Brought Russians back to the not Russians, back to the United States at levels never seen before. Hasn't happened. Rebuilt our military. Hasn't happened. Created the largest tax cuts, regulation cuts ever. Hasn't happened. Maybe the regulation cuts, which is bad. Yeah. Closed our open and very dangerous southern border when previous administrations were able to do so. He actually kept the borders open during the Biden administration, told everybody in the GOP, don't give Biden the win, and now he can claim victory over it, so it's a lie. Largest tax cuts really closed by, and created an aura around the United States of America that has led every country in the world to respect us more ever before. In addition to that, I go out of my way to do long, thorough, and very boring medical examinations at the great Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, seen and supervised by top doctors who've given me perfect marks. Some have even said they've never seen such strong results. We'll get to it in a second. I do these tests because I owe it to our country. In addition to medical, I have done something no other president has done on 3 separate occasions, the last one being recently, by taking what is known as a cognitive examination, something few people would be able to do very well, including those working at the New York Times. And I aced all 3 of them in front of large numbers of doctors and experts, like he's in a fucking auditorium, most of whom I don't know. I've been told by few people that have been able to ace this examination. By fact, most do poorly, which is why many other presidents have decided not to take it at all, despite all this. The time and work involved, the New York Times and some others like to pretend I'm slowing up and maybe not as sharp as I once was, or I'm in poor physical health. I mean, he fell asleep 23 times last week in the Oval Office. Knowing that is not true, knowing I work very hard, probably harder than I've ever worked before, I will know when I am slowing up, but it's not now. Here's where it gets fun. After all the work I've done with medical exams, cognitive exams, and everything else, I actually believe it is seditious, possibly treasonous for the New York Times and others to consistently do fake reports in order to libel and demean the President of the United States. He thinks that title, and anybody who insults him because he has that title, means that they're committing treason and sedition. That's a whole other conversation.
He really does. He's acting like
he believes it. That's
he's acting
dementia.
Like the king, and he's acting like that anyone who attacks him is being seditious, and he's
he says it here. Next line. Yeah. They are true enemies of the people.
The New York Times.
Anybody that talks about him honestly is an enemy of the people. And we should do something about it, he says. They've inaccurately reported on all my election results, all of them, including the ones he won, which is fucking crazy. Yeah. And in fact, we're forced to apologize so much that of what they wrote. The best thing that could happen to this country is if I make the New York Times cease publication because they're a horrible, biased, and untruthful source of information. Thank you for your attention to this matter. The President of the United States. We have seen craziness. We have never seen this level of craziness before. This is a man that is trying so desperately to keep the American people away from his dementia diagnosis, how unhealthy he is, how unwell that he is, that he chose to put it all on Front Street in a dementia-filled, insane Truth Social post. And one of the great things about Donald Trump, which is also one of the worst things about Donald Trump, is no one says no to him. And I'm really grateful for that today because we got that tweet out of it, my friend.
Except that, someone is calling the shots in this country that's clearly not the president of the United States. I mean, clearly he's not well enough, I don't think anymore, to be making sound decisions. So somebody else must be making those decisions for him. And who is that? Is it Susie Wiles? Is it Stephen Miller? Is it the crazy Stephen Miller that's running America right now? Who is making the decisions in the White House that is affecting our international standing?
I think those people are in the Kremlin, to be honest with you.
I think so. I think they could be in the Kremlin. I mean, that's how scary this really is. I mean, we're not talking about just a guy who has lost it, because he clearly has. I mean, any decisions he makes are questionable from now on, or have been for a while. But there's some machine still rolling along. There's some machine which is pushing strategic documents out about how we're going to deal with Europe. There is a machine today that is declaring that people who previously had no problem getting in the United States without visas are now going to have to surrender their social media, accounts for 5 years to people coming into America. There's war drums in Venezuela. There are people being killed in the Caribbean by illegal orders. And this machine keeps rolling, and it's not him that's running this machine, obviously. He can't even remember what he said yesterday.
He's past the point of no return when it comes to dementia. And I put a post out about it, and the drug that he's probably on, it's not Leqembi, it's probably Kinsula, which goes into the hand, which is the reason for the bruising. And it's an IV drip. You get it along with between 2 and 3 MRIs on your brain a year.
Wow.
And if you remember, he's had 3 now this year. He's also had 3 cognitive tests. Now, the only time you get 3, and the cognitive test is called the Montreal Cognitive Test, MoCA for short. And the only reason you give someone 3 of those in a year, according to the doctor that I spoke to, a guy named Dr. Aaliyah today, and a couple of other people that I've spoken to who are trusted medical professionals, is if there are really serious concerns that the person that you're talking to has dementia and refuses to admit it, doesn't want to talk about it, knows that they have it, gaps out in large quantities, doesn't understand what's going on around him, continually repeats himself, continually repeats the same stories. And so you'll keep bringing that person back. And there's another person in Trump's family, actually several, including his older sister who died of dementia, his father who died of dementia, Uncle John, who died of fucking dementia and Alzheimer's. These are the reasons and causes of death.
Yeah.
And it runs in the family. And Fred Trump III said the same thing the other day. He's like, I got to tell you, I got it. Like, it's going to happen to me, and it's happening to Trump, and I'm watching my family member go through it right now.
Well, I mean, his dad really lost it at the end there. He spoke about it. This was a big issue for him as his dad died. So he's very familiar that it's in his family history, and he's very familiar.
And he used to call his dad weak for getting it.
Yeah.
So for him, this is like a sign of weakness. So he's trying extra hard. Like literally in that Truth Social post, he effectively said anybody that talks about my health issues should be accused of being a treasonous American and charged with seditious conspiracy. He said that in his actual tweet. That's crazy talk. That's dementia talk. That's the disease that has taken over Donald Trump's brain.
And this is the problem with what MAGA has done. They've installed a cabinet that can't even begin to vote him out because of his mental instability. I mean, they're all so beholden to him and so criminally involved with him that they aren't the people who can rely on to possibly say that he's incapable of running the country. Not that it would help, because then we'd land up with Vance, which would be even worse in some ways, because he would be efficient. The challenge we're all having is not so hard to see. We have to elect a new president in 2024. 2026. We can't wait until 2028. The Speaker of the House, whoever it'll be, come next fall, should be the next president of the United States. And people need to start thinking about that and what that means very, very clearly. Clearly, Marjorie Taylor Greene is positioning herself for this very, very thing on the right. I'm sure she's running. Maybe she's not running. She says she's not running. But either way, she could still be the Speaker of the House come next November.
It's fucking crazy to me.
And could become the president of the United States. So all of it is, but I don't see the Democrats thinking of the same thing in the same way. We have a emergency here. This president, if he continues in power, is taking us to hell. And if his number two succeeds him, he's also going to hell. What are we going to do? We need to make sure that we take advantage of next November as a presidential election. We need that leader to start running now. We need presidential style elections starting now. Steve Schmidt, you should be running for president.
I've told him that like 5 times, and he's like, nah, I just want to go ride horses in the Yukon.
Well,
I'm like, no, you don't. I'm like, no, you don't. You want your pound of flesh. He goes, after I get my pound of flesh from Donald Trump, I'm going to go ride horses in the Yukon. Literally, like he wants nothing to do with politics. He wants everything to do with putting America back together again. And there are several people out there that want the same thing. So
yeah,
I'll bring up Mark Kelly's name.
Yeah.
I'll bring up Gavin Newsom's name. I'll bring up, Shapiro's name. I will bring up a couple of names that not a lot of people are aware of, but they love. I'll bring up Pete Buttigieg.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bring up Zorhan Mandami. I mean, the guy is a force.
Yeah.
And he hasn't gotten into Gracie Mansion yet, but when he does, we'll see what he does. Hey, listen, do I agree with communist grocery stores? No, I don't. But he hates Trump, so I'm in.
Yeah.
Same thing with anybody who hates Trump, anybody who hates what that man stands for, and the people that are behind him, propping him up. To your point, I'm all in. And I think the rest of America is all in because Elaine Higgins just took over the city of Miami yesterday, which is unfucking heard of.
What we may need, though, is someone who can build a coalition with moderate Republicans right now, and that's why it can't be someone on the extremes of the Democratic Party. It's got to be someone who's acceptable across the board to moderate Americans, because we are going to need to ultimately impeach and convict in order to get these guys out of power. I think that's mathematically actually possible, considering this defeat in Miami. That's really possible.
I think it's possible before the midterms, don't you?
I don't see that. I don't see that before the midterms. I don't. Maybe it'll be amazing if it was before the midterms.
Impeachment, charges, conviction. Donald Trump might be immune to some of it, but he's not immune to all of it. And no one around him has immunity. Not anybody.
Epstein. That would be an interesting tell. Hey, we should get to the rest of the story. So we've done number 5 and number 1. This is number 4. The Federal Reserve cut interest rates for the 3rd straight time Wednesday, but Chair Jerome Powell delivered a message Wall Street didn't want to hear. Don't expect any more cuts. The Fed lowered rates by a quarter point, but signaled only one additional cut in 2026. A dramatic slowdown that sent stocks tumbling and revealed deep divisions within the central bank about what comes next. There was a lot of divisions between in the bank. Some people saying they should have cut even further. The moderate Democrats on the board, like Austin Goolsbee, saying no, we should have held it at what we have right now. But the economy is free falling. I mean, you can sort of tell it's free falling. This is an attempt to give it a little bit of a cushion for the next few months, maybe. But it's not going to do it for the whole. It's not going to save America's economy.
No, America's fucked.
Yeah.
Just for a second, I want you to imagine. I don't know if you know who Tim Hassert is.
I do know Tim Hassert.
Tim Hassert is that bug-eyed fuck that stands up, and talks about the economy. And he's Trump's pick to replace Jerome Powell. A couple of days ago, actually it was a couple of weeks ago prior to Thanksgiving, he's like, guys, I don't know what everybody's worried about. Walmart is
What do you say? I love it when you crack up. Well,
it's just so fucking ridiculous. Don't listen to the OMB. Don't listen to the PBO. Don't listen to any of those people. Listen to Walmart, who now has a $25 Thanksgiving dinner all in with extra generic products. I'm like,
I'm glad they got the extra.
I'm like, okay.
Products.
So the guy that Donald Trump wants to replace Jerome Powell at the Fed with, who he actually picked, Donald Trump picked Jerome Powell. Remember his first admit, he's like, Jerome Powell's the greatest. He's gonna be the greatest Fed Reserve guy ever. He's like, Jerome Powell sucks.
Yeah.
replacing Jerome Powell with Tim Hassert would be like me replacing Wayne Gretzky at center ice with the 85 Oilers.
Yeah. I gather that wouldn't be a good idea.
No, you don't know sports. It's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Awful
idea. Your team would lose.
idea.
Your team would lose.
But that's who he wants to replace Jerome Powell with. And Jerome Powell has been under extreme pressure for the past, I don't know how long. If you remember that little clip where Donald Trump was going to go put pressure, I'm going to lean on him. I'm going to go to the new Fed building. I'm going to tell him, you got all these buildings that are costing $2 billion more than we allotted for. You're committing fraud. So he's standing in front of camera, and Donald Trump is like, oh, what about all these other buildings that cost $2 billion more? And he goes, what are you talking about? And Trump's like, well, I got it right here in my pocket. He pulls out this piece of paper, hands it to Jerome Powell. He's like, here it is. This is what I'm talking about. Jerome Powell's like, that's a completely separate building that's already been paid for, sir. And he's like, that's not what I know. He goes, well, that's the truth. And Donald Trump's like, okay. And he puts it back in his pocket.
Well, because he's always comes up with these ridiculous. He doesn't know anything about the economy either. Like, I mean,
he knows nothing about what he's doing. He's so fucked, dude. He doesn't know anything about the economy. He doesn't know anything about America. He doesn't, other than what he wants America to look like, which is a fascist fucking totalitarian state full of meatheads wearing baskets on their head, running around going, hear no evil, see no evil. Donald Trump's the best because we love Jesus Christ as much as everybody else does. And Donald Trump is a god and we're part of the cult. Like, he knows nothing. He knows absolutely fucking nothing. He's done nothing for the United States of America other than separated from every position in the world that they had prior to him ascending to the Oval Office this year. He has destroyed every relationship with every single ally he has, including Canada. Canada laughs at him. We laugh at him. Denmark just said, hey, that's a terrorist state. That's a fucking big deal. Ukraine is like, we don't want your weapons. We're going to go along with the EU. Denmark.
The
Danish people
in the world.
The worst people say the worst thing Denmark ever did was give us Lego because we step on it and it hurts.
That's very funny. But the economy is in real trouble, as we know. Not only do we not know the real data because they keep withholding the real data, so you can't believe what they're saying about almost any of the jobless numbers that are coming out or anything like that. But the tariff thing is still out there. I mean, it still is collecting money somewhere in the Treasury, apparently, for some future give to American people, but will never happen. And at the same time, it's creating runaway inflation. I mean, we're seeing it all the time. The prices for groceries are going up all the time. Energy going up all the time. The affordability of America is the number one issue in America. That is why Mamdani was elected mayor in New York. It is why the Democrats are going to win next November. But it's stunning to me that in that environment, we're still seeing a rate cuts because it's dangerous what they're doing. It's dangerous. They're going to overheat things.
Yeah. I don't think Trump cares.
Yeah, I don't think he
about overheating things. I don't think the people around him care. I think they care about interest rate cuts so they can make more money, so they can leverage more debt, so they can buy more debt, so they can service that debt, so they can sell that debt. That's what Donald Trump does. If you remember when he was elected the last two times, he was like, I love debt. I made a lot of money off debt. I'm like, yeah, I know. He doesn't give a
all the time. He wants to bankrupt America. But there's no bank that comes and bails out America afterwards. It just crashes. There is no, bank of last
resort. Oh, there is a bank that bails America out. It's the American taxpayer.
Well, yeah, if it crashes, if the economy crashes, it's done. I mean, the US dollar crashes, there's no one there. There's no world organization that's going to come in and help us fix things. It doesn't happen that way.
Here's the rub too. Yeah. Ursula von der Leyen, head of the EU, just greenlit a couple of different projects. One is the selling off of strategic U.S. T-bills by the European Union, which was a whole plan hatched in the brain of one Mark Carney.
Yeah.
And so that the 2.43 trillion.
That's just
they've got their finger on the button to sell it. Boom. 2.43 trillion, which would, and by the way, America's debt load went from 37 trillion to 38 trillion in less than 2 months. So suck on that. Okay. Yeah, no one's buying your fucking T-bills. We're going to sell them. And then on top of it, Donald Trump has still got a boner for tariffs, which are going to get struck down by the Supreme Court in a matter of days. And he's been campaigning and telling the free world, he's been going to every single television, if the Supreme Court cancels my ability to tariff, it's destruction for the economy. Yep, it is, because you're going to have to pay back $300 billion that you fleeced your own people for.
Yeah, even more. Who knows how much he's going to have to pay
maybe
back.
400, maybe $500 billion.
Yeah.
And so you take both of those factors and you put them in a blender, and you present it to Donald Trump in a cup, he's not drinking it. He's not drinking it. Or maybe he is because he wants to destroy the U.S. economy, because he's so deeply invested in crypto, because he lost 2.8, I believe, billion of his net value because crypto crashed, because there's an AI bubble. If that doesn't work out for him, he's fucked. He's fucked.
He knows he's fucked, I suspect. But maybe he doesn't. Maybe the dementia is just telling him to believe it all. At number 3, the Trump administration wants to force tourists from 42 countries, including the UK, France, Germany, Japan, and Australia, to hand over 5 years of social media history before entering the United States. The proposal, posted by Customs and Border Protection, would make what's currently an optional question on visa waiver applications mandatory, turning the streamlined ESTA system into a digital dragnet that could discourage millions of visitors from America's closest allies. It may also keep a lot of us not wanting to go because, as you know, why would you travel if you have to give over your social media history? And we know what they're looking for. It applies to 90 program that this waiver program lets citizens from allied nations visit the U.S. for up to 90 days without a visa. So it's most travelers.
Let me walk you through the process that I've been through. I've been to the United States twice this year. Once because I had to go visit a friend who was in need, and the other time because I had business there with the good people from the Save America movement. That's why I was in Nashville. For strategic meetings, we'll talk about that another time when I can talk about that. I got to the airport both times, pre-cleared in Canada, once in Toronto, once in Montreal. U.S. Customs agents on the other side. Got to the kiosk. Guy looks at me when I was in Toronto. He's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Orlando." "What for?" "Conference." "Okay, here you go." Nothing. Then when I went to Montreal, flew to Montreal because I had to catch a connecting flight to Nashville. Get to Montreal, pre-clear Montreal. I hand him my passport. He looks at it, hands it back to me, and says, Have a great trip."
Yeah, that was it.
I'm of the sneaking suspicion, and I know there are some cavalier DHS guys or border security guys, CPB guys, ICE guys. I get it. I totally understand. None of those things are happening. The people that run those organizations, below the Kristi Noems of the world, below the Greg Bovinos of the world, and the Tom Homans of the world, they're just going about their business as usual, getting people through. What you didn't count on with this whole thing was you got a bunch of people that are working for the United States government that were proud to have those jobs, that let people into the country, who are sick and tired of being abused at the border, who are like, you know what, go ahead. We're not letting people through. I'm of the sneaking suspicion that nobody, other than the odd Uber Trumper that works for DHS as a CPB guy or girl, someone in security, pre-clearing or landing in certain countries, specifically from other countries, they might target a couple people, but in no way is Trump's influence preventing people from going into the United States. In fact, to the opposite. Had a conversation with a gentleman that worked for Customs and Border Patrol. And I said to him, as I was waiting to get not just board a flight, but get through security, I'm talking to the guy at security. I'm like, you guys paying extra special attention to Canadians and people from other countries that Donald Trump doesn't like? And he's like, "Nah, dude, we don't give a shit. We just do our job. We just continue to check for contraband, continue to make sure that we don't have bad guys getting on airplanes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." And the same thing with customs. Asked a customs guy, said the same thing. He's like, "Nah, dude, it's business as always." That's a show. He goes, "That's a show that y'all are watching, and you're scared to come into our country. And it's a shame because it's killing certain industries." There's another part to that, which is the boycott of the United States of America by Canadians, which is now, I believe, cratered 50%, upwards of 50% of what we used to spend prior to the Trump regime. 50% of Canadians have canceled any plans to spend any money, go to the United States, do business with the United States, et cetera, et cetera. That's alive and well because we've got national pride here in Canada. We just don't give a fuck. But when it comes to the mirage of what Trump is telling people is going to happen to them when they get into the United States, I think it's a fucking joke. I haven't seen it once.
This is a proposal, by the way. So there's a 80-day process here, I believe, where people can challenge this and make it challenged. But and I'm glad to hear what you're saying. I'm glad to hear that there isn't really anyone on the border telling people not to come in. And I haven't heard of any in the recent past, people being thrown into detention centers who are Canadians, all that kind of stuff. There was at the beginning of this policy, but not now. It still terrifies me. The idea of me going to the United States, I don't know. I'm not as brave as you are. I feel like I'm, you know, who knows what they'll do to me.
Are you really worried?
I would be worried. I wouldn't travel to the United States right now. I've wanted to travel to the United States many times in the last few years, and I've not felt safe doing it.
Why?
I think my coverage of certain things hits a raw nerve. I think they target me a lot in many different ways. I've been the target of all sorts of actions in the past, and that certainly has not slowed down in any way. And I don't know if it's the administration, if it's the regime, or if it's the people associated with Epstein, and who knows. But I do a different kind of reporting, I think, than others. That I sort of get into the weeds of things in a way that others don't. They just don't find themselves doing it. I've just chosen to do this sort of more investigative, deep work, and that deep work makes people nervous, I think, because it's so who knows who could be on the other side, but I don't feel safe in that environment going over, because I know Trump might be unhappy with it, but he would never do anything like that. I don't know about all the other.
I think. Listen, I think that I can only talk about my experience, and I've watched videos and firsthand accounts from people that have very different experiences from me going through land crossings, border crossings from Canada to the United States. But I can tell you this. I think Donald Trump's lying about all of it. I think he's lying about capturing people at the border. I think he's more interested in getting rid of brown and black people out of the United States, people that don't look white, people who aren't Christian. I think they're way more at risk than anybody coming into the United States of America. And listen, I'm not giving you like a travel advisory. I'm not going, it's totally safe to go to the States. Go do it. Because listen, I really had a hard time, and I felt like you the first time I went there. Like, I took the biometrics off my phone, walked into the United States, not a word from anybody, but I suffer from a privilege that not many people have, right? That go to the United States. I'm white. I'm cisgendered. I am white. So
you're
it's
white
like,
heterosexual man. It's easy for you to get through. And maybe the same thing with maybe the same thing. I don't know. And I miss living there. I miss being a part of the United States, and I would be living there right now if it weren't for the current administration and regime. I think that's just the truth. And so I'd love to be there.
Dude, you know what? And the people there, they hate him.
Yeah,
Americans fucking hate Donald Trump. Didn't matter where I went, what pub I was in, what conference thing I went to, what meeting I was in. It didn't matter what hotel lobby I was in. It didn't matter who I was having cocktails with. The conversation sat in and around how much everybody fucking hates that man.
And that's why I love America. I mean, I like Canada a lot. I love Canada. I would say it with a lowercase L, because I appreciate everything that Canada's done for me, and I love the people of Canada. They're very lovely. Everyone's very lovely here. Everyone's very super nice. Everyone gets along. I love the civility of the place. I love the way it manages itself. I love all of that. But for all of that, it's still a very sort of conservative, quiet kind of place. It's not the kind of place where America used to be, and I'm not even sure America is that place anymore. But in America, as an individual, you could go there and really change the world. I mean, you could be the one single individual that could break out from the crowd and do some amazing stuff.
Yeah, the class system didn't matter in America back then.
In Canada, you could sort of break out a little bit. But you can't be really, do wonderfully innovative, challenging things. Maybe you can a little bit more now, but it's not the same thing. It's all about the group. It's all about the collective. It's all about making sure everyone's okay.
The republic, the unity. Yeah, it's about the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. One of the things that I say all the time, and you would know this working for big time CBS in New York. The one thing America always did really well, that Canada refused to do. The second a personality became a brand, they would get rid of that personality in Canada, because they're too big of a brand. They're bigger than the brand that they worked for. And I was patient zero for that.
Yeah.
When I was at the Edge, I did a radio morning show. And at the peak of what we did, we had a 40 share in the city, which meant 40% of the people that lived in Toronto listened to our morning show.
Massive.
Yeah, it was huge.
The most important thing to be spoken about was by you. If you were living in Toronto, attention from you is what mattered.
Yeah. So when I crossed that Rubicon of being more important than the brand,
Yeah.
the company I worked for did the most Canadian thing ever, which is like, oh, you got to get rid of them.
Yeah.
In the United States, they don't do that. They take superstars and go, what do you need? What do you want? We need you to work for us. We need your audience. They embrace that stuff. They
They do and
embrace
they
the show
don't.
business of it.
They do and they don't. They do to some people, unless you're like
Until it rubs
disruptive.
the wrong
Yeah.
board member the wrong way.
Exactly. If you say something wrong, you start doing something that they don't love. If you start having your own mind, then it's not the case anymore. But it's still a place where you can ultimately break out. Where they will pay you a radio personality millions and millions of dollars just because they have that 40% share, or they'll find a superstar and make them into a massive superstar. And this applies across the board in every sector. It's just that Canada has a sort of a group think about things, has a group way of approaching things. It's not about you as an individual. It's about the team. It's about all of that kind of stuff. That's what separates Canada from the United States. But for me, I love Canada because it's all that comfort. So it's like Christmas movies. Like Christmas movies.
Yeah, Canada's like a Hallmark show, isn't it? It's like you come here, and if anybody's been to Canada, doesn't and I know we have a massive American audience, and I'm so grateful for it. If you haven't been to Canada, here's what you're going to get when you come here: bunch of nice people saying sorry for standing in your line of sight, moving out of your line of sight. Sorry about that. You're walking down the street. Oh, sorry, sir. You're like, what are you saying? Sorry, I was in your way. That's who we are. But to your point, we're also incredibly socialist in some capacities. And that socialism leans far towards empathy, that it leans towards marginalization. It's not socialist like, oh, you got to give your due to the country, you got to pay your taxes. And yes, we're heavily taxed. But the reason why we're heavily taxed and the reason why we have incredible social programs like $10 daycare for any kid in the United States, or sorry, in Canada, like the reason why we have lunch programs for kids is because we understand a couple of different metrics, and we're not assholes about those metrics. We're not like, hey, this is going to get passed on to the rich. We don't give a fuck about the rich in Canada. But Canada has its own oligarchy issue. Canada has its own issue with media being as corrupt as the United States. And Canada is seeing this rebirth of, embracing truth over a post-truth bullshit society.
Yeah.
Because we're watching what's going on in the United States. And as you point out, Canada's kind of this bedroom community that sits above the United States of America, where we're like, hey, we don't want to rock any boats. But there's one thing that manages Canada's expectations. It's the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage everybody to go read that document. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms is your freedom to do whatever you want is unfettered. Yeah. Until it comes to my doorstep or the front of my face and it prevents me from enjoying my life. That's when we mediate the problem. Mm-hmm. That's when we have to address the issue. And it's not like that in the United States. No. They don't have a Charter of Rights and Freedoms. They have the Declaration of Independence that holds the freedom to do whatever the fuck you want. And I'm going to bring this back to democracy. The freedom to do whatever you want. The freedom for the richest of the rich to be able to run the table. The freedom for anybody to own a gun. Like, it's your fucking God-given right when you come out of the womb, you're allowed to own a gun. It's in your fucking Declaration of Independence. Yeah. The United States Constitution is like, it's the Second Amendment. What's the amendment? Oh, you get to own a gun. Doesn't matter what you think because you need to protect yourself from the government. Well, that time is here now, right? For America. That time is here. In Canada, it is a privilege to own a gun, and if you fuck with that privilege, you will never be allowed to own one again. That is the beauty of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. That is a major difference between Canada and the United States.
It's a very well managed country. They manage them. Canada is very well managed, and it does have that oligarchy that sort of helps it. The aristocracy, the uber rich families that sort of run everything. But all that means that your chances of becoming an uber rich person is limited. Mm-hmm. You'll live a very comfortable life here, but you're not going to break out from the pack. And that's
like Donald Trump would never exist in Canada as a brand.
And the whole idea of speaking your mind, and you go into, I worked in media in New York, so it's easy for me to say that whenever you went to speak to someone on a New York street and ask them for their opinion about something, boy, they would tell you a million times over what their opinion is. You do the same thing in Toronto. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to give you their opinion. I mean, they're not scared of it. They just don't want to share an opinion because they don't want to ruffle any feathers. They're a little shy. They're a little intimidated. And that vibe is so different because Toronto and New York are comparable, but New York's got something about it that's sort of like it's the center, or used to be the center of the world, everything. I don't know if it is anymore, but it certainly used to be. We're way past time, and we've got 2 more stories to get to, or at least 1. This is number 2.
Well, let's get to 1. Well, number 2, we already did number 1.
We did
We did it at 4.
We did it already.
Yeah.
Thanks for paying attention there, Dean.
The
The Republican-led House Armed Services Committee is shutting down its investigation into military boat strikes in the Caribbean that have killed at least 87 people since September, even as legal experts warn that operations may constitute war crimes. House Chairman Mike Rogers, unbelievable, announced Tuesday, just on his own, he's ending the probe just as new details emerged about Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth forcing out Admiral Alvin Halsey after the Navy commander raised concerns about the murky legality of striking those boats in September. So, Mike Rogers, I'm done. I've spoken to everyone. I'm done. This is over. The investigation is over. I'm calling it. Bye, everybody. That's it. That's the House investigation. Thank you, Mike Rogers, for investigating everything so well. I'm glad he got everything he needed.
Yeah, he didn't. He's running. This is going to be a shock to everybody. He's running interference for Donald Trump.
Yeah,
this is just another. It's a criminal fucking enterprise. I mean, we don't know who died. We don't know of those 86 people that were blown to smithereens, including the double tap strike. We have admirals selling out Pete Hegseth. You have the military tribunal that is looking into Pete Hegseth. He's got his nuts wrapped the other day about the whole Signal Gate thing. And Mike Rogers is like, I've seen enough. I'm good. He's fine.
I mean, it's obviously not fine. It's obviously he's just doing this because he's seen enough to know that the entire
that if he doesn't say something and if he doesn't end it over, it's going to get way worse.
Yeah,
and by the way, like the institutions that Donald Trump has destroyed, will be they're just recreating them in real life as third-party organizations. These investigations are going to continue. Maybe not the House investigation, the oversight investigation, but I'm telling you that it doesn't matter. Like, he can come out and say whatever the fuck he wants. I've seen enough. Everything's good. I'm Mike Rogers. Investigation over Pete Hegseth's the best. The U.S. military fucking hates that man.
Yeah.
The U.S. military is not going to sit there and go, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I guess it's over. We'll just let Pete Hegseth continue to fucking send people we work with to the fucking brig for murdering 86 Caribbeans. Like, it's the cat is out of the bag. It is way too late. I remember a time in my life, and you do too, when the House Oversight Committee would launch an investigation like, this is serious. Or the House Oversight Committee would go, okay, investigation done. We've got the goods. Time to move on. And you go, oh, that's good. Nobody believes anything that comes out of this government anymore. So it doesn't fucking matter.
Macy Grace said the other day, what's the point of Congress? And she's right. I mean, if this is how they're going to run things, what's the point of having this Congress even exist if they're just a rubber stamp basically for everything that the administration wants, the regime wants, and they can commit as many crimes as they want. They don't want to be investigated. They don't want to have any regulatory bodies that can be fired. Basically, they want complete control over everything, and Macy Grace is right about that. That is the countdown today. DeanBundell.substack.com is where you got to go and get all your breaking news every day.
25% off annual subscriptions for the rest of the month. It's our December special, everybody.
You are on a tear right now. So much great stuff coming out from Dean Blundell, and it's December 10th, which is amazingly late in the year. I can't believe we got to December. It's been a crazy, crazy time. Isn't it surprising that we're here? It's like,
did you think you'd die before now?
I didn't think I would die. I'm really surprised that it's December. Because we started this show. When did we start the show? I don't remember.
April, May.
May. So it's been a lot of work. Just anyway, we started then, and it's sort of just been work all the way till now, right? It's been a lot, but it's been great and successful. And boy, we love everybody who shows up every day. We're so thankful for your support. We're so thankful for everything you do for us. Don't take your time lightly. It's a dedication for you to show up here every day at 3 p.m. to be with us, to listen to us, to share your opinions with us. That's a huge investment, and we really appreciate it. And I know both of us can't thank you enough for all the support you've given us throughout this year and into this holiday season. So thank you all, everybody. That is the FiveStack.
Have a great day, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe, narrative.org, Greatest Heist, Chapter 5, Book 2. It is out now, narrative.org. It is absolutely fucking incredible, recounting conversations about an incredible formula that was put out in this little picture book. Everybody
algorithm.
needs to
Oh
go.
my
Oh,
God.
the algorithm, dude. And we haven't even got to that. We'll save it for tomorrow
Yeah, it's a good one.
because it's such a good piece. Everybody run, don't walk, run, and subscribe to narrative.org. I'm over at Dean Blundell. Substack.com. We've got a couple of pieces out there today about what Canada has recently told Donald Trump to do with his national security strategy as well. But we're just grateful, as Zev said, that you were here with us today. It is an honor of a lifetime to be in your life for the hour that we get to do it every single day around 3 o'clock. We'll be back at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Thanks for watching the Five Stack. Zev, great to see you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Cheers.